This is VOA News. I'm David Byrd. Chinese state TV is reporting the number of deaths from the coronavirus has reached 304 as of Saturday night. Meanwhile, Australia, Japan, and Singapore announced strict travel controls Saturday to protect against foreigners who have been in China recently. As Lisa Schlein reports, though, the World Health Organization is advising nations against closing their borders.
WHO spokesman Christian Lindmeier says closing borders will not keep out the virus.
But the only way to control, to check fever, for example, to identify travel history, to try to monitor who's coming across your border and to see whether they have any signs of infection is through official border crossing points.
China is taking draconian measures to stop the spread of the coronavirus. Wuhan City, the epicenter of the disease, and 15 other cities have been quarantined, placing an estimated 50 million people under lockdown. Despite these efforts, the virus continues to spread at a rapid pace. Lisa Schlein for VOA News, Geneva.
U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was in Belarus Saturday for meetings with that country's president. Lucy Fielder reports.
Pompeo met President Alexander Lukashenko on Saturday. Washington and the European Union frequently criticize authoritarian rule in Belarus, but they've lifted most sanctions since he freed political prisoners and showed more tolerance for opposition. Pompeo, the most senior U.S. official to visit in more than 2 decades, said the U.S. supported the country's independence but was aware of its ties to Moscow.
We understand you're a neighbor. There's a long history with Russia. It's not about picking us between the two.
Relations between Minsk and Moscow soured after the two sides failed to agree on an oil supply contract.
That's Lucy Fielder. This is VOA News. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas threatened to cut security ties with both Israel and the United States in a speech at an Arab League meeting in Cairo. As AP's Sarah Bassett reports, Abbas denounced a recent White House plan for ending the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
Abbas responded angrily to the American proposal, which would grant the Palestinians limited self-rule in parts of the occupied West Bank, while allowing Israel to annex all of its settlements there, which the Palestinians and most of the international community view as illegal, as well as keeping most of East Jerusalem. I will not have it recorded in my history and the history of the country that I sold Jerusalem. Abbas says he told Israel and the US that there will be no relations with them, including the security ties, following the deal that Palestinians say heavily favors Israel. The Arab League's final communique described the deal as a new setback for 3 decades of peace efforts. I'm Sarah Bassett.
Fighting took place across the countryside outside Aleppo on Saturday as Syrian government forces attempted to seize control of a strategic highway that links the capital of Damascus with the north of the country. The Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights reported a violent attack by Turkey-backed factions on Syrian government posts in the northeastern rural Aleppo countryside. Heavy fighting also took place between Hayat Tahrir al-Sham and the Syrian army in West Aleppo. Former Communications Minister Mohammed Alawi was named Prime Minister-designate by rival Iraqi factions Saturday after weeks of political deadlock. The choice comes as the country weathers some troubled times, including ongoing anti-government protests and the constant threat of being ensnared by festering tensions between the United States and Iran. The National Football League's championship game, the Super Bowl, is Sunday night in Miami with the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Kansas City has not been to the Super Bowl in 50 years, but all-star quarterback Patrick Mahomes says he thinks his team is ready.
You have to visualize it if you want to go out there and do it. And so for me, it's about going out there, just executing the game plan at a high level, trusting in the process, trusting in my teammates, and not trying to do too much. The
49ers last won the Super Bowl in 1995, but will be trying to win a record-tying 6th Super Bowl title. For more on these stories and the rest of the day's news, be sure to visit our website, voanews.com. I'm David Byrd, VOA News.